This episode is brought to you by Scentbird, the luxury perfume and cologne subscription service. Get 50% off your first scent when you visit scentbird.com/theknow. Welcome to The Know, I'm Ashley. You guys, it looks like PUBG is continuing its downward slide. Look, top of every mountain, you gotta go down, right? The Battle Royale game, which helped bring the genre to mainstream popularity, dipped below 1 million daily players on PC for the first time in a year, so let's be clear, that's still a lot of players. But it is definitely a drop from where they used to be. That was noticed by Eurogamer, citing SteamDB numbers, and of course the unveiling of Black Ops 4's Blackout mode may have had something to do with that, as well as obviously the continuing popularity of Fortnite. PUBG took the world by storm last year, and look, it wasn't the first Battle Royale mode, but it was the first to break through to a wider audience. It really made everyone take note of Battle Royale as a genre. And while PUBG's still doing enormous numbers that most games would kill to have, it is a trend for the game, so I'll be curious to see what they have planned to try to keep players and maybe even win some of them back. Speaking of Black Ops 4, developer Treyarch is already making tweaks to the Blackout mode, which is currently in beta and has been very well received so far. The biggest change is that they've now raised the player cap to a total of 88, up from 80. They posted the new changes on the game's subreddit. Also includes increasing the speed at which you pick up items off the ground. Treyarch wrote, "These updates are being made and are only possible because of the feedback that you've given us. Please keep it coming as we plan to make daily updates to the game throughout the beta." Oh, they're actually treating it like a beta. Xbox and PC players will get to play the beta on Friday, and then it's going to wrap up for everyone next week on Monday. We finally got a date for the launch of Switch's online service, which has been really well received so far. In a tweet this morning, Nintendo said the memberships will start September 18th, which is less than a week away. It's going to be $20 per year, so it does cost a lot less than its competitors with Xbox and PlayStation. You will be able to sign up for a 7-day free trial at launch. Give it a go. While online play has been free so far on the Switch, that is changing with the launch of their online service, which will now require a membership and subscription if you want to keep playing games over the internet. They're also throwing in 20 free NES games and the ability to save your game data online. Well, mostly a few titles like the Pokemon Let's Go games, Splatoon 2, and several others won't allow cloud saves, at least not at launch. Maybe they'll figure out some way to make that happen, especially for some of the other third-party games that aren't currently going to support it, but we'll see, because that's still just such a weird decision. Speaking of Nintendo, the Direct that was postponed by last week's earthquake in Japan has been rescheduled to this Thursday. That's according to Nintendo's YouTube channel, which now says the Direct will take place at 3 p.m. Pacific time, which is 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. As for what's going to be announced, we don't know the specifics yet. There is speculation that Splatoon 2 could be involved, as well as a Japanese game called Platinum Train. It looks like we will know more Thursday, so not a long wait. Nintendo also says it'll give more details about the launch of its online service during the Direct. The creator of Shadow of the Colossus and The Last Guardian is hard at work on a new game. Fumito Ueda gave an interview with Famitsu, and he said the new game will be of a similar scale as his best-known games. He said, "What we're making now doesn't feel like an indie game. We're ultimately aiming for something on the scale of Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian." He added that it's a completely new game, not a sequel, and that if larger-scale development becomes of interest to us, then I think we will significantly expand our development system and take it to a large-scale development team to make it a big game. Definitely sounds interesting, and given the track record of his Gen Design studio, definitely worth keeping an eye on. Also sounds like it's a ways out based on those comments. Racing fans, get ready! A demo for Forza Horizon 4 is out today for Xbox One and PC players. Man, I'm just a sucker for Forza Horizon, so I'm gonna be checking it out. The fourth installment of the open-world racing game takes you to historic Britain and will feature more than 450 licensed cars. It's developed by Playground Games, and based on some of the screenshots posted on the Microsoft page, it is looking gorgeous. We saw this game at E3. I'm loving it. I'd also just love this sort of open world RPG carness that Forza Horizon is. It's dope. Anyway, the full version of the game is coming out next month, October 2nd, at which time you will lose me. So here's a really scary story. This is one that really hits close to home for really anyone who works on the internet. The popular streamer Dr. Disrespect had to cut a recent Black Ops 4 live stream short for a terrifying reason. It's because someone shot at his house while he was live on stream. Happened while he was playing Black Ops 4 Blackout Beta, and in footage posted on Twitter, you can hear what sound like gunshots, and then Dr. Disrespect, aka Guy Beam, quickly gets off camera. He comes back later and says, "I have to end the broadcast. Someone shot at our house, broke the fucking upstairs window." Even scarier, he says this is the second time that this has happened. Luckily, no one was hurt. Police are investigating. But who shoots at someone's house? Do you think it's funny? It's not funny. Is this what you think, like, hey, swatting was dope, let's try this? Just don't. It's not cool. Swamp Thing is being turned into a series for the upcoming DC Universe streaming service, with The Conjuring's James Wan producing and it's Gary Doberman writing. The show is moving forward very quickly. They just cast their Swamp Thing, kinda. The titular creature used to be a man, the scientist named Alec Holland, who had a teensy tiny little accident and becomes a walking monster made up of swamp grass and vines. Alec Holland hasn't been cast yet, but Swamp Thing, in all his green mucky glory, will be played by Derek Mears, a man who's no stranger to costume work. Mears is well known to horror hounds for playing Jason in the Friday the 13th reboot a few years back, and at 6.5 feet tall, Mears is kind of built to be an intimidating dude, having popped up in stuff like Pirates of the Caribbean, Angel, Bones, probably his most dastardly role, the bodyguard who breaks MacGruber's portable car stereo. Not cool. No official release date's been set yet, but Swamp Thing is expected to debut in 2019. The Oscars typically reward costume dramas and biopics. Very rarely do they give genre films a lot of credit. There are exceptions to the rule, of course. Silence of the Lambs, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, last year's The Shape of Water do come to mind, but for the most part, studios don't really campaign for blockbuster franchise flicks. Black Panther may be changing things though. Disney not screwing around when it comes to the next Oscars, officially launching an awards campaign seeking 16 nomination categories, including Best Picture, Director, Lead Actor, Supporting Actress, Cinematography, Costume Design, and, well, pretty much every other possible award. The last time a superhero movie really entered into the awards race was Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, which ended up nabbing a posthumous supporting actor Oscar for Heath Ledger. With the newer, younger Academy voting base, it's possible we'll be seeing more superhero movies entering the race. Disney definitely thinks it has a shot at a Best Picture nomination here, and if Black Panther could somehow win the award, that would be a game changer. We'll see how it shakes out, but they are going for it. And you know, while we're talking superheroes, there are reports that Henry Cavill may be hanging up his cape. The Hollywood Reporter says that Cavill is done in the role of Superman, as Warner Brothers is shifting its attention to a Supergirl movie. A source said that Superman is like James Bond, and after a certain run, you have to look at new actors. There were talks for Cavill to make an appearance in the upcoming Shazam movie, but that didn't happen because of scheduling issues. Sources also said Warner Brothers is trying to reset the DC Universe movies and take them in a very different direction, which we're seeing a lot more of with all these other movies they have planned that are not necessarily all connected together the way they did with the Justice League. Cavill definitely keeping busy though. He recently signed on to star as Geralt in the upcoming Netflix series based on The Witcher, which we're expecting to see, 2019, 2020 maybe, so he'll still have stuff to do. We'll see him around. Anyway, that about does all the news for this roundup. Let us know what you think in the comments down below, and to make sure you get all the crazy news from every corner of the internet, make sure that you like this video, and if you're new to this channel, subscribe to the know. Shout out to Scentbird for sponsoring this update. Scentbird is a luxury perfume and cologne subscription service that lets you choose a new scent to try every month with more than 500 scents from designer brands like Prada and Gucci and Kate Spade, Nest, many more. Very fancy names. Perfume is kind of one of those things that can be overwhelming if you want to try it, especially because a lot of us get our first experience in the middle of a store where there are a billion scents all competing for your attention and your nose just shuts down and goes numb. With this subscription, you get to actually spend time trying a different one each month, and then you can decide what really works for you. Each spray lasts at least 30 days. It's 130 sprays total, so you get plenty of use before you try another one. You can definitely decide, this one's for me, this one's not, I'm gonna try something else. I've tried a few of them. I like that I can use them without committing to a full bottle because, well, one, those can get very expensive, and two, I don't know if I'm gonna love it forever. What if I'm like, hey, it's starting to get autumny, I want something that's a little warmer, perhaps. Hey, guess what? I can do that! A Scentbird subscription is $14.95, but you can get 50% off your first scent when you visit scentbird.com/theknow or use offer code THEKNOW.